Wedding's off, my fiance said after a fight. She said like it was just another argument, but this time I didn't chase her. I called my lawyer. 36 hours later, her world began to unravel. One booking, one bank account, one condo at a time. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Hey, not even sure where to start, but I guess this is more for me than anyone else. I'm not here for pity or people telling me I should have known. I did know. I just didn't think she'd actually push it as far as she did. So, yeah, here goes. My name's Nate. I'm 33, live in North Carolina, work as a construction project scheduler. Basically, I build the timelines, line up the crews, and make sure materials show up before someone's standing on an empty lot with a clipboard and no drywall. Damon, my cousin, runs one of the contractor teams we work with. He swings the hammer, I keep the chaos off his back. It works. I make enough to live good, save a bit, take Frodo, my golden retriever, on trail walks, and build the occasional Lego set on weekends. I've been on my own since my mid-20s. Parents split when I was in high school. I've got one close cousin and a few solid friends who've been in my corner since college. I'm not really the date-around type. I've had a few long relationships that didn't go anywhere, but I always figured I'd meet the right one eventually. I wasn't desperate. I was just open to the possibility. Then I met Maisie. We met at a dinner for a mutual friend. I wasn't even supposed to go. One of those might-as-well nights. She came in late, loud, laughing, hugging everybody. I remember thinking she was probably too much for me, but then we ended up sitting next to each other. She made some snarky comment about the playlist, and we both cracked up. She was quick, confident. Not the kind of person who waits for an opening to speak, she makes the opening. I'm not like that. I usually sit back, listen, speak when I've got something to add. But somehow, we vibed. She texted me later that night. 2 days later, we got coffee. A week after that, dinner. For the first couple months, it was good. Like actually good. She'd call me on her lunch breaks, send me memes, ask about my projects even though she didn't understand a single thing about what I did. I liked how she lit up a room. It made me feel like I didn't have to carry everything for once. She had her own life, her own circle, her own job. Marketing for a wedding venue, ironically. Seemed like she was doing well for herself. Now, I'm not dumb. I noticed early that she was a little reactive. First time we disagreed, and I mean barely, was over a movie. I liked it, she hated it, and she went on this mini rant about how it's always men who think dumb action movies are deep. It wasn't a fight, but it was sharp. I pushed back, told her she was being extra, and she actually apologized. Said she gets defensive when she feels dismissed. Okay, fair enough. But then came the first real one. We'd made plans to go to my buddy Luke's housewarming party. Luke's like my day one friend. Good dude. Keeps it casual. I told her the vibe. Backyard, grill, couple of games on the patio TV. She shows up in heels and a cocktail dress. I'm in jeans and a polo. She looked amazing, don't get me wrong, but I could already tell she was annoyed. You said it was a party, she whispered when we got there, eyeing the lawn chairs and cornhole setup. It's a party, I said. Yeah, for middle-aged dads. I laughed a little, trying to keep it light. Babe, it's chill. We're here to hang out. No pressure. She was cold the whole night. Didn't talk to anyone. Sat on her phone. When we left, she was quiet in the car. Then she let it loose. I don't get why you never consider my vibe. Do you not want me to feel special when we go out? I told her straight up. Maisie, this wasn't a dress-up thing. I told you the plan, the vibe, and you chose the outfit. No one judged you, but you kind of made it weird for yourself. She said I was being condescending. I told her she was overthinking it. We didn't talk much the rest of the night. Next morning, she apologized. Said she felt out of place and took it out on me. I told her, it's okay, but I don't do drama over dumb stuff. If something's a big deal, say it before it turns into a meltdown. She nodded. Said she appreciated how calm I was. I let it go. But that wouldn't be the last time something like that happened. Over the next few months, stuff like that popped up more. Not daily, but enough. I'd be 10 minutes late picking her up. She'd be cold the whole ride. I'd suggest a restaurant and she'd snap, you never want to try what I like. Little things. Always little things. But they built up. The weird part is, after every outburst, she'd act like it never happened. Like, completely reset. And when I'd bring it up, not even aggressively, just like, hey, that was kind of harsh last night, she'd say something like, why are you always focused on the negative? So I started keeping mental notes, just little reminders. And I'd push back more when I needed to. Like once we were out at Target, and she wanted to buy this $150 LED floor mirror. We're not even living together at this point. I asked, "Do you really need that right now?" And she snapped, "Wow, so now you're policing my spending?" I said, "No, I'm just saying you talk about saving for big stuff, then throw money at things you don't need." She walked off, literally stormed down the aisle like I'd said something unforgivable. I let her cool off. 15 minutes later, she was back, pretending nothing happened. I asked her, "We good?" And she smiled like a movie character and said, "You're lucky I love you." That line stuck with me, because it didn't feel sweet. It felt like a warning. I told my cousin Damon about it later. Damon's a contractor, no filter, older than me. He just said, "Bro, if she's acting like that now, what's it gonna be like when y'all live together?" I didn't have an answer, but I wasn't making excuses for her either. I just thought maybe she was still figuring things out. Maisie was passionate. That's what I told myself. She felt big feelings and wasn't afraid to show them. And yeah, sometimes that came out sideways. But nobody's perfect. We'd also shared some genuinely great times. Road trips, nights binge-watching dumb reality shows, deep conversations about stuff that actually mattered. So yeah, I proposed. Let me explain. It wasn't one of those swept off your feet things. I wasn't pressured, and I didn't do it to keep her from leaving or anything like that. I proposed because, at that time, I genuinely thought we were building something. We'd been together a little over a year, and despite the weird arguments and flare-ups, I figured that was just part of being with someone strong-willed. Not everyone's soft-spoken and chill like me. So I planned something simple. She loved hiking, so I took her up to Max Patch, this beautiful spot not too far out. Packed a little lunch, had Frodo with us, clear skies. It was one of those days that just felt right. I proposed at the top. She cried, said yes, and instantly started talking about the kind of ring box we'd use for photos. The next few weeks were intense. Not bad, just hyper-focused. She had a Pinterest board for everything. Flowers, dresses, bridesmaid poses, dance choreography, signature drinks. She wasn't even drinking, but still she had the whole mood board laid out. I didn't really care about the details. My only request was we not go broke trying to impress people we barely talked to. That's when the first real wedding fight happened. She found this venue out in Asheville. It was stunning, I'll give her that. Modern glass building, lake views, on-site chef. It also cost $14,000 just to book the space. That's before catering, photographer, anything. I said, "We can't afford that." Her face dropped like I'd said we'd be getting married in a gas station bathroom. "Why do you always shoot down my ideas?" she asked. "I've dreamed about this forever, and you can't just let me have this one thing?" I replied, "It's not one thing. It's the first thing, and it already eats half the budget. We still need food, music, clothes. You want this wedding or a wedding and a future?" She got quiet. Then she left. I figured she needed time. She texted that night. "I didn't realize you thought I was so irresponsible. This hurts." I called her. We talked. She cried. I listened. Then she said, "I just want everything to be beautiful and perfect. Is that too much?" I told her no, but I also told her perfect doesn't mean bankrupt. We moved past it. Next couple weeks, things smoothed out, or maybe I was just tuning things out. She picked her dress. I helped design the invites. She booked a DJ without asking me. I said something, and she just waved her hand like it was no big deal. "I didn't think you'd care about music anyway." That bugged me. Not because I'm some dance floor guy, but because she didn't even check. Then we had another weird moment. We were in my office, the room where I keep my Lego display builds, and some model kits I'd been working on for years. I'd been building them since college. It's just something that helps me think, keeps my hands busy when I'm stressed. She stared at the shelf and said, "So when we move in, we're gonna find another spot for these, right?" I said, "No, that's my stuff. It's staying." She laughed, but not a funny laugh. "You can't be serious? You think that fits in a grown-up's living room?" Component placement. I looked at her and said, "Maisie, I'm not giving up stuff that makes me happy. So our place looks like a magazine spread." She rolled her eyes and walked out. I didn't chase her. I wasn't going to argue about toy bricks. But it wasn't about the bricks. It was about control. She came back later acting totally normal. Sat on the couch, turned on a show, leaned into me like she hadn't just disrespected something I cared about. That was starting to become her thing. Pretend the storm never came through, and expect me to go along with the reset. I wasn't having it. Still, I wasn't about to start World War III over every little disagreement. I let things go when they weren't worth my peace. But I was also keeping mental notes now. She wasn't just strong-willed, she was dismissive when it suited her. Like my opinions were only valid when they lined up with hers. The real turning point for me came during a family dinner. We were at her parents' place. Her mom brought up the wedding and said something like, "Maisie told us you're finally loosening up the budget. Smart choice. No one wants a cheap wedding." Maisie just smiled, sipping her tea like she didn't just lie about me behind my back. I said calmly, "Actually, we haven't changed the budget. We just reprioritized." Maisie shot me a look under the table. I didn't back down. She could shoot daggers all she wanted. I wasn't folding to keep the peace anymore. If I had to pick between being liked or being respected, I'd take respect every time. Later that night, I asked her why she told them that. She shrugged. It was just easier than getting into another argument with them. "So, you lie to your parents and make me look like I'm giving in?" "They're old school, Nate. They think the guy should provide everything." I told her, "If they think that, it's your job to fix it, not throw me under the bus." She said I was making a big deal over nothing. That was becoming her go-to line. I told her this: "You want to spend your life with me? Then don't treat me like the background character in your little show. I'm not going to be the guy who just nods and signs checks." She didn't say anything, just went to bed early. Next day, back to normal again, like clockwork. But I was starting to realize something. It wasn't going to get better, not unless I did something about it. So after that dinner, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was really wrong. And not just a little wrong, not she's stressed, or we're in a rough patch type wrong. It was deeper. Like, I was starting to feel like a guest in my own life, someone watching things happen to me instead of being part of the decision-making. That night, after she went to bed early without saying much, I sat on the couch and stared at the wall for maybe an hour. Frodo curled up next to me like he knew something was off. He always knows. I scrolled through some old photos on my phone, back when things with Maisie felt normal. Us at the beach, her laughing at some dumb joke I made, a video of her dancing in my kitchen in socks while making pancakes. That girl? I missed that version of her, but I couldn't tell if she was gone, or if she was just buried under all this stress. I thought, maybe this wedding crap is turning both of us into people we don't even recognize. So yeah, I started thinking about backing out. Not just the wedding, the whole thing. And I'm not a run when it gets hard kind of guy, but I'm also not going to stick around in something that's making me feel smaller by the day. I'm 33. I'm not about to tie myself to a life where I feel like I've got to earn respect in my own home. But I also didn't want to look back 5 years from now and wonder if I quit too soon. Regret has a way of sneaking up on you in the quiet moments. I didn't want that. I wanted to be able to look myself in the mirror and know I gave it everything. No what-ifs. No second-guessing. Just clear lines. So I decided I'd give it one more chance. But it had to be real. Not just me giving. She had to meet me halfway. I brought it up 2 days later during lunch. I just said, "Maisie, we've been off. I think we both feel it. I don't want us to keep going if we're not actually good." She got defensive, of course. Said I was being negative. Said I always focus on the problems instead of the progress. I said, "This isn't about negativity. It's about honesty. Do you feel like we're working together right now?" She hesitated, then softened a little. "I think I've been overwhelmed," she admitted. "This wedding stuff is just, it's a lot. And I know I've been snappy, but it doesn't mean I don't love you." I nodded. I believe that. But love isn't the issue. Respect is. She looked away, said nothing. I told her I was willing to take a step back from all the chaos. Maybe scale down the wedding. Maybe reset. Just focus on us for a minute. Less planning. More breathing. Surprisingly, she agreed. Said she wanted that too. And for the next week, things actually got better. We didn't talk about venues or flowers or dresses. We went for walks, cooked dinner at home, watched movies without phones in our hands. I even saw glimpses of the girl I fell for again. She laughed more. She didn't snap when I forgot to take out the trash. She even asked me how work was going and listened without zoning out. I started thinking maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe things were salvageable. Then one time, we were at my place, talking about the guest list. Just a simple convo, or at least it started that way. She wanted to invite a bunch of her college friends I'd never met. Some of them she hadn't even spoken to in years. I asked if we could trim it down a bit, just to keep things manageable. She went quiet, then said, "Why do you always try to control everything?" I said, "I'm not trying to control anything. I'm trying to coordinate. There's a difference." She stood up, started pacing. Then she spun around and said, "You just don't want me to be happy." That line lit something in me. I said, "Don't do that. Don't twist this like I'm trying to ruin your life because I suggested fewer strangers at our wedding." She stepped toward me, hands clenched, face red. Then, and I swear it happened in a blink, she reached out and scratched my forearm. Hard. Like a cat. I pulled back, looked down, and just stared. 3 red lines. One of them started bleeding a little. Did you just... I started. She froze. Her face changed instantly from rage to regret. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to... I cut her off. No. Stop. She stepped closer. I backed away. Maisie, you do not put your hands on me. I don't care how mad you are, I said, slow, low. You put hands on me again, you'll only ever see me from across a courtroom. That's not a threat. That's a promise. She started crying. Said it was an accident. Said she blacked out. Said it was because she hadn't eaten. Because she was stressed. Because everything felt like it was falling apart. I told her, flat out, this is the thing that will end us. I'm not playing the let's forgive and forget game on this one. It happens again, we're done. Just over. She nodded. Said she understood. Said it wouldn't happen again. I didn't believe her. Not really. But I still stayed. Because I needed to see it through. Needed to know that if I walked, I wasn't doing it out of impulse. That it wasn't just a bad week. That I wasn't giving up on someone who could have been better if I'd just been more patient. So yeah, I gave her that one last shot. But I wasn't stupid. I was already watching the clock in the back of my head, ticking down. Then, on a Sunday afternoon, we were sitting in my living room. Calm weather, quiet day. Frodo was passed out near the sliding door, snoring like a little truck engine. I had just made us both a grilled cheese, and we were halfway through a movie when Maisie pulled out her phone. Okay, hear me out, she said, flipping the screen toward me like she'd discovered buried treasure. It started with this designer lighting setup she saw on some influencer's wedding video. It was this insane wedding lighting setup, a big LED wall with our initials, programmable to do this glow fade thing, while a fog machine pumped out mist during our first dance. It was a lot, and not cheap. $2,700 to rent, plus delivery and labor. I didn't react right away. She was already smiling, waiting for my approval like a kid holding up a drawing. I nodded slowly and said, all right, let's take a look at the budget tonight and see where we are before making that call. That was all I said. Just that. Didn't say no. Didn't roll my eyes. Just, let's check the numbers first. And that was enough to set her off. She dropped the smile instantly and said, so what? You think it's too much already? I replied, still calm, I didn't say that. I said, let's look at the budget. If we can make it work, great. If not, we adjust. She folded her arms, scowling. You're always doing this. Acting like you're going to consider my ideas, but really just planning to say no. You're cheap, Nate. That's what this is. You hide it under logic and structure, but you just don't want to spend money on anything that matters to me. I was halfway through opening my laptop to actually pull up the budget spreadsheet when she reached over, grabbed it, and slammed it to the floor like it was a damn frisbee. It hit the hardwood hard. I heard the crack and just sat there for a second, blinking. Then she started yelling again. This is what I'm talking about. You care more about your stupid spreadsheets than me? You treat me like I'm asking for diamonds when all I want is something nice for our wedding. I said, Maisie, stop. But she didn't. You know what? If I don't get to have what I want, then neither do you. She turned and stormed down the hallway. I followed her. She went straight into my office. My Lego builds were all lined up on the custom shelves I'd mounted myself. These weren't little kid kits. They were complex display models I'd built over years. Car replicas, architecture sets, a couple Star Wars ships. Without hesitating, she shoved the entire middle shelf down. Models crashed to the floor. Pieces scattered everywhere. One of them snapped so hard a piece bounced under the desk. She looked me in the eye and said, "You're not going to be surrounded by your little toys while I get nothing." Then she grabbed her purse and turned toward the door like she was proud of herself. That's when I stood up and said, flat, "You're a spoiled, entitled brat, Maisie." She stopped. "Everything has to revolve around you. Your wants, your timing, your mood swings. You break things, throw tantrums, and expect apologies for your behavior. You think love means letting you steamroll over someone and smile while you do it. You act like I'm cheap because I won't burn money on dumb shiny crap, but you haven't paid for a single part of this wedding. You think calling me boring or controlling will make me fold? Nah. You're just pissed I finally told you no, and you couldn't handle it." Then she whipped the door open and slammed it behind her like it proved something. I stood there in the quiet, heart pounding, staring at the broken Legos and the cracked laptop. Then I walked into the kitchen, got my phone, came back, and started recording a video. I panned over the broken Lego sets, the dented shelf, my cracked laptop, the scuffed floor from where she stomped her heels after tossing my stuff around. Then I took photos of everything. Once I had the evidence, I called my lawyer. I think we're done, I said. All right, he replied. Tell me everything. I gave him the timeline. He told me exactly what to do. Freeze all shared accounts, cancel anything with her name, or tied to wedding deposits, change the locks just in case, and keep all communication documented from here forward. By the next morning, it was in motion. Caterers, venue, DJ, photo booth, all canceled. We hadn't hit the non-refundable deadline yet, so I managed to get most of it back. Everything had been under my name, or my card. She hadn't paid for a single thing herself. The joint savings are frozen. Emergency fund. I pulled my contribution out and locked down the rest with the bank. Let them deal with her if she wants the rest. Passwords changed, shared files gone, legal protection ready. I froze all the payments and had the venues send me full transaction logs, just in case she tried to claim she paid for everything. Then I sent her a message. We're done. Please forward any communication through my attorney. Your access to joint accounts and wedding services has been terminated. That night, I called Damon. Told him everything. What she did to my stuff, the laptop, the Legos, the screaming match, all of it. He didn't even sound surprised. Been waiting for this day, man, he said. You've been walking on glass while she swings a hammer. That cracked me up. First real laugh I'd had in weeks. You good? He asked. I will be. He paused. Then said, don't answer the door when she comes crying. And she will. Already bracing for it. Yeah, well, brace smart. She's not done until she's made herself the victim. And if she can't spin it, she'll escalate. Protect your peace. That's not a suggestion. He wasn't wrong. Damon's the kind of guy who keeps it blunt because he's seen what happens when you don't. His ex tried the same guilt playbook years ago. He's got the legal bills to prove it. So when he gives advice, I listen. So, she didn't respond for almost 36 hours. I knew what that meant. She was waiting for me to send the follow-up text, the maybe we can talk message, the olive branch I always used to extend, but I wasn't that guy anymore. Day 3, she texted. Hey, I still need the logins for the seating chart. I forgot to save them. Like nothing happened. Like she didn't just blow up my laptop and destroy years of my stuff. I ignored it. Hours later, you're being immature. This is both our wedding. Stop acting like a child just because we had a fight. Day 4, 6 missed calls and a voicemail. She was crying, saying she was sorry, saying she was overwhelmed, that she didn't mean to hurt me, that I always used to understand her better than anyone. And she wasn't wrong. I used to understand her. But I also used to excuse her. Not anymore. Then came the shift. Day 5, she showed up at my house. Makeup smeared, hands shaking, full meltdown mode. She asked to talk, said she didn't even know why she reacted that way, claimed she blacked out and lost control. I let her speak, then I looked her straight in the face and said, you know what the saddest part is? I warned you. Over and over. I let so much slide, stuff that would have had any other guy walking out months ago. But you saw my patience as weakness. You thought I'd just keep folding like it was my job to keep you happy while you burned down everything in front of me. She tried to cut in, didn't even get 2 words out. I stepped forward and dropped it on her. You broke my trust, my stuff, and my respect. You gambled everything on the idea that I'd never leave. Guess what? The house always wins, and I just cashed out. You don't get to be the victim now. You were never in love with me. You were in love with the control, with being right, with winning. But you lost the second you thought I wouldn't walk away. She looked like she was trying to figure out what emotion to fake next. Then she said, flat, you'll regret this. No one will love you the way I did. I laughed. I hope no one ever loves me the way you did. That kind of love is a slow death. I stepped back, opened the door wide, and said without blinking, go. Run back to whoever still believes your poor me act. I'm not that guy anymore. She stood there for a second, like she expected me to soften. I didn't. I shut the door in her face while she was still standing there and locked it. Then I opened it. Hey, Maisie, I said. She turned halfway, still fuming. You need to leave. And next time you show up without notice, I'm filing for harassment. I figured I'd seen the worst of it. I didn't hear from Maisie for 3 days. Not a text, not a call, nothing. Then she posted on Instagram. Black and white. I ended my engagement to protect my peace. When someone starts controlling your joy, your space, and your finances, leave. You are not crazy. You are not too much. You are just finally too smart to stay. Sometimes you have to walk away from people who don't respect your needs, your emotions, or your mental health. I refuse to shrink myself for a man who made me feel small. I'm a queen. I will always choose myself. You could practically hear the Beyoncé track in the background. It didn't take a genius to figure out who that was aimed at. not naming me. But everyone knew. Then came the DMS from mutuals. Some just asked if I was okay. Others flat out said she'd been texting them behind the scenes, telling them I emotionally neglected her, that I controlled the finances, and, get this, that I used her for attention, then discarded her like trash when she got too real. I just replied, I'm good. Got everything documented, and I did. That night, I opened a private folder on my laptop and dropped in everything I had. Photos of the broken Lego sets, my cracked laptop, the dented shelf, the destroyed wall, and the most important one, a picture of my forearm from 2 weeks back, 3 thin scratches, red and raised, from the fight where she grabbed me. I never meant to use it. I only took it because something told me I might need proof someday. That someday was now. I forwarded the whole package to my lawyer. He didn't even hesitate. We're filing for a restraining order tomorrow, he said. We'll include the physical evidence, financial interference, property damage, and harassment. Let her try to spin it. And let me be clear, I didn't want revenge. I just wanted her away from me. But that's not what Maisie wanted. Because that night around 1:15 in the morning, I woke up to a loud, metallic crunch from outside. Frodo went nuts. I jumped out of bed and looked through the upstairs window. Maisie's car was halfway through my garage door. She didn't even try to brake. She just drove right into it. The bumper was smashed. The garage frame was bent inward. She reversed a foot and then sat there, headlights on, engine still running. Then she opened the door and stumbled out, barefoot. Drunk. She was yelling before I even made it downstairs. You ruined everything! I gave you my life! I didn't open the door. I didn't even get close. I hit the record button on my door cam, which, thank God, I'd upgraded just a week earlier, and called the police while she was still screaming in my driveway. Nate! Nate! Come out and face what you did. She started throwing things from her car, a makeup bag, her shoe. Then she tried kicking my front door, which only made her fall backward onto the lawn. The cops showed up 6 minutes later. She tried to argue, slurred something about me abandoning her and stealing her future. They breathalyzed her on the spot. She failed. They put her in cuffs while she was still yelling. I handed the officer the garage footage, plus the file of evidence I'd already compiled. Scratches, damage, voice memos, screenshots of her texted threats. I didn't say much. I didn't need to. The officer looked through the file and said, "You've done everything right. Good documentation. You're going to be protected." They towed her car. She was charged with DUI, trespassing, and property damage. By the next morning, I had a full restraining order in place. Court signed and served. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "You made me look crazy. You destroyed everything we were building. If something doesn't happen to fix this, someone else will make sure you regret it." That was it. Word for word. I didn't reply. I sent it straight to my lawyer and the police. Another charge added to the list. Threats and harassment. Maisie's life spiraled. Her job caught wind of her arrest. She worked for an event planning agency. Image matters in that world. She was asked to take a leave, according to a mutual friend. Her cousin even reached out and said, "I warned her. She's on her own now." The court date came 2 weeks after the garage crash. First up was the restraining order hearing. Judge skimmed the file my lawyer handed over, then looked at Maisie. "Ma'am, are you disputing the physical altercation, property damage, or the DUI arrest?" Zarinya. Her lawyer tried the usual. "She's under emotional distress, Your Honor. She had no criminal history, and this was an isolated..." And the judge cut him off. "I don't care if she cured cancer last year. She crossed multiple legal lines. Restraining order granted on the spot. 18 months. No contact, no physical proximity, no online harassment. If she so much as liked a tweet I posted, it'd be a violation." Then came the property damage hearing. Separate case, small claims, but serious enough. The garage estimate, $6,200. Laptop replacement, $1,300. Custom shelving, Lego builds, office floor scratches, $3,500 in assessed value based on itemized proof and expert statement from a hobbyist evaluator my lawyer hired. Total, just under $11,000. Her lawyer tried to argue that emotions were running high and that the items weren't essential living tools. Logically, the judge raised an eyebrow. "You mean to tell me it's okay to destroy non-essential property as long as someone's upset? That's not how the law works." Verdict, full restitution ordered, plus court fees. She was instructed to pay $10,890 over the next 6 months or face wage garnishment. Her lawyer looked like he aged 5 years when the judge read the ruling. Maisie didn't say a word on the way out, just kept her head down. Her mom tried to follow me out of the courtroom, started to open her mouth like she was going to deliver some final dramatic line. My lawyer shut it down. You approach him again? I'll file for harassment against you too. She backed off and they left. Meanwhile, I was good. I filed the insurance claim for the garage damage. It was approved fast because I had everything on camera. The insurer said they'd go after her for recovery on the back end. I bought a new laptop. I took down the shelves in my office and ordered new ones. Stronger, better, higher up where Frodo can't get into the pieces. I took the money we'd set aside for the honeymoon, every penny I recovered from canceled wedding expenses, and booked a solo trip to Colorado, 4 days, all-inclusive motorsport retreat, rally car driving, hands-on tuning, real dirt tracks. I hadn't smiled that hard in months.